you'll hear about professional footballers sometimes saying that they don't love the game, that they just play the game for money. And then you do have other times players who do love the game. Today, we're going to be looking at a player that loved the game so much, he was willing to die for it. And unfortunately, he did. I remember hearing about a player who died in the Albanian League. I thought it was really sad. It's always tragic when you have a player who dies, especially playing the beautiful game, but I didn't think that much of it. I definitely thought it was a tragic, unfortunate death, but I forgot about it. Then I found out that there was a lot more to the story. This was a player that could have played in the Premier League, a player who played in La Liga, but then found himself playing in lower leagues in Europe. A player that could have been a really good player, probably could have been one of the best players in the world, but instead he died at the age of 28. A death that could have been avoided, probably. This is the story of Raphael Dwamena. Raphael Dwamena was born in Ghana. I hope I didn't butcher that. If I did, don't get mad at me. He started off his football career with Red Bull Ghana. Then, after finishing second place with Red Bull Ghana in a tournament in France, in Croix, France, he got the opportunity to come to Red Bull Salzburg along with the current #1 keeper for Ghana, Lawrence Atizigi, and David Atanga. Now, he didn't get any opportunities to play with Red Bull Salzburg, but he did play with the reserves teams. He played with the reserve team FC Lefering for the next 2 seasons, before being sold to another Austrian team called Austria Latanal, which was playing in the same division as Red Bull's reserve team. It was in the second division of the Austrian League. And after he went to this new team, he had an amazing half season. He scored 18 goals in 20 games. He ended up being sold to FC Basel. Interestingly, his team in Austria probably didn't get promoted because they sold him halfway through the season, because they could have used his goals at the end of the season, but they even said that they didn't regret it because they thought it was the best move for the player and for them because of the money that they were going to get from the transfer. When he went to FC Basel, one of the top historically teams in Switzerland, they weren't playing in the first league, they were playing in the second league. They had surprisingly been relegated, but in the half season that he played in the second league, he helped them get promoted. He scored tons of goals. He was their main striker for half that season. And not only did he play good in the second league, he also played well in the top Swiss league, the Swiss Super League, where FC Basel finished in second place, and he was a regular there, and he definitely played a part in them finishing that high after just being promoted. This brought a lot of interest, especially because at this point, he's still a very young player. He's 21 years old. He's starting to already show promise. He's showed promise in the Austrian second league, he showed promise in the Swiss second league, and now he's finally also showing promise in the Swiss first league. And his wonderful play in the Swiss league started to bring interest. It even brought interest from the Premier League. Brighton decided to submit a £10 million offer for him.
If it is my time to be there, to be playing in the English Premier League, I will be there.
And it was probably at this point where his career was at its peak. After this point, his career was going to slowly start going downhill. Why didn't he go to Brighton? Also, why did his career start going downhill? Was it because of attitude? Was it because he was never that good of a player? Was he somebody who was only good in the Swiss league but didn't have the capabilities to be good in a better league? What was it? Well, first of all, when it came to his Brighton move, he failed the medical. FC Basel was surprised. They said they did a medical on him before he came there and nothing was wrong. But Brighton, they didn't want to go through with the move, so they decided to back out of it. It wasn't the first time recently that Brighton had backed out of a deal because of a medical, but FC Basel was able to find somebody else who wanted him in a top league. Levante in La Liga decided to swoop in. They had a slightly lower offer than Brighton, but they still came in with a €6 million offer. I think it was actually 6.4 million, and they decided to sign him. They decided to take a chance on this young, promising player. He did play for Levante in his first season there. It was nothing special. He did play 15 games. He scored only 1 goal. It was in a cup game, so it was not the best season, but he was getting playing time. He's still a young player, full of promise. After this, Levante decided that they were going to send him on loan to the second league to get him some more playing time so he can develop more. And in the second league, the Segunda in Spain, playing with Zaragoza, he started off a little bit better. He had 2 goals in 9 games, and then he would never play for them again. And this is the moment where his career really started to go downhill. In October of 2019, new examinations were done on a heart condition he had. And after the examinations, doctors recommended that he immediately stop playing football and that he retire. You know how I said that he failed the medical in Brighton? The medical was in regards to his heart condition. Brighton thought that there was too much of a risk to sign him because of the heart problems that he had. Now, Dwamena never played in Spain again, but he ended up not retiring. With team doctors, he decided to try to do something to allow him to keep playing. He ended up getting a heart surgery that installed a heart defibrillator, which would hopefully allow him to keep playing, an ICD, an implantable automatic defibrillator, something that would help with his heart problems. However, at the end of the season, it seemed like Levante was done with him. Even though they helped him with the heart surgery, it seemed like after him only playing a little bit in the Segunda division and then not being able to play after that, they didn't want to deal with him. They didn't want to deal with his heart problems. So he had to find a new team, and he did find a new team. He found a new team in the Danish Superliga, the top Danish league. But as you see, he is starting to take steps backward. He was going up, he was climbing the football ladder, and now he's starting to climb down. He signed with the Danish Super League team, Velja Bold Club. In the Superliga, it went pretty well. His career there started pretty well. He scored 2 goals in 5 games, but then after that, he would no longer play for them again. Right before a game, they detected health problems. They detected right before a game that his heart complications came back, and the team decided that it was too dangerous for him to get on the field. It was too dangerous for him to practice with the team. So he would no longer play or practice. He did still stay around. He did show up to practices. The team actually had a very positive opinion of him. They thought that he had a great attitude, that he was helping other players. They liked having him around the team. They were very happy that he was still there. They thought very highly of him, and they still wanted to have him around even when he couldn't play. But Dwamena had other plans. If he wasn't able to play in Denmark, he was going to find somewhere else to play. That's what he has done up until this point. When teams told him that he can't play because of his heart condition, he found other teams to play for, other leagues to play for. So he left Denmark and he decided to go to Austria, to the Austrian second league, where his professional career all started. He didn't end up playing much in Austria. He only ended up playing 3 games. Because on the 3rd game, this is when the story would start to go really downhill. The 3rd game, he ended up passing out on the field. He had to be rushed to a hospital in an ambulance, but he survived, even though he would end up not playing for that Austrian team again. Reportedly, his defibrillator was what saved him. A doctor even said that he was fine, he wasn't close to being deaf, that his defibrillator helped him in that moment and he was going to be alright. I don't know, maybe it was downplayed. I'm not sure. I'm not a medical expert. To me, it almost seems a little bit downplayed, especially considering that he needed to be rushed to the hospital. He did have high spirits in the hospital. He joked around. Since he could no longer play for that Austrian team, he had to find somewhere else to play. And he ended up going all the way to the 5th league in Switzerland, the bottom of the Swiss football pyramid. This guy really wanted to play. He's being told he should retire, and he's playing in 5th division in Switzerland because nobody else wants him. You gotta really say that this guy was determined, especially considering that this guy was playing in La Liga. He was supposed to play in the Premier League. He already made decent money up until this point. I heard in Levante he had been making $800,000 a year. But this guy is so determined to get back into football, playing professional football. He's willing to play in a 5th division league in Switzerland. This guy really must have loved football. He did do decent there. He ended up not staying long. He only stayed there for a couple games. Scored 8 goals in 11 games. And then his agent was able to find him a better league. Something that wasn't 5th division Swiss league. Now, this wasn't something very prestigious. It was the Albanian league. He did sign for one of the better teams in the Albanian 1st division. He played there 2 half seasons. The first half season that he played there, he had a really good season. It started off really well. But his second season, that one was even better than the first. In his second season, started off by scoring 12 goals in 13 competitions, including a brace in a European competition in the Conference League. This was his first time scoring a goal in European competition. And he was leading the Albanian League in goal scorers. He's actually still leading the Albanian League in goal scorers, even though he's not alive. In those 2 half seasons, he scored 24 goals in 37 games. But unfortunately, it would all tragically come to an end. It came to the end in the 23rd minute of a match on November 11th. All of a sudden, he had a cardiac arrest on the field. And unlike the time in Austria, this time he didn't survive. He died on the way to the hospital. And his doctor said something interesting. He said that he had the defibrillator removed a year and a half prior, and that if he had that defibrillator, he would have probably survived. Now, who knows? It's all speculation, but that is a little bit eerie. The doctor also mentioned that he recommended to Raphael Dwamena that he retire, but if he wasn't going to retire, he recommended that he had the defibrillator. But it was Raphael Dwamena's choice that eventually he decided that he just wanted to have it removed. And that might have cost him his life. Playing football might have cost him his life. And there's so many aspects of this, including the defibrillator. I don't know why he took it out. I could maybe speculate a couple of reasons. Maybe he thought it affected his play. I would think it probably was more so that he thought that the defibrillator was why he was getting released from teams, that the defibrillator was picking up on his heart condition having problems, and it was scaring teams away. So maybe he thought that if he removed this, then it wouldn't scare teams away. That if they didn't know about his medical complications, they'd be less scared. But eventually, that might have been what cost him his life. But he died doing what he loved. He knew the risk. He was willing to die playing. And there is something romantic about that. Not just the defibrillator. The fact that he was told multiple times you can die, but he kept on insisting on playing. And I'm not suggesting that somebody repeat what he did in a similar situation, but it is something honorable. And also, there is something fascinating about the passion he had. I feel like you can't deny that this guy loved playing football. He loved playing football so much that he was willing to die playing football professionally. And that's eventually what happened, unfortunately. I guess he died doing what he loved. Another thing that I wonder about is how good could he have been? How good could have Raphael Dwamena been if he didn't have these heart problems? Because everything I heard, it seemed like he had a great attitude. It seemed like no matter the challenges, he was willing to get back and keep fighting. And he had so much passion. I'm sure he was willing to put in the work and training. What if this guy didn't have medical problems? I could see him having gone to Brighton, having had a successful few seasons there, and then moving to a bigger team. It seemed like the only thing that stopped him was his heart. His heart is not only the only thing that stopped him from reaching higher heights in football, but it eventually ended up being what caused him to die on a pitch. Let's remember Raphael Dwamena for what he was, a player that was willing to play football no matter what, even if that eventually killed him.
It's been always my desire, like, to play and enjoy football